So, hallo liebe Studenten und liebe Studentinnen. Here is the new grammar lesson for this week. This week you are learning the perfect tense. In German, the perfect is used to speak about the past in a conversational, colloquial way. There's also the Präteritum, the simple past, that is more formal and more often used in writing. So if you talk with someone, or if you write a more colloquial text, then you use the perfect to talk about the past. So how do we form the perfect? So there are two parts to it. First, there is the Hilfsverb, which is a form of sein or haben, so to be or to have. And then there's a Partizip 2. So when do we use a form of to be and when do we use a form of to have? So here we have the explanation on the right. So when we talk about movement, when the verb is a verb of movement, we use a form of sein. There's one exception, and that is bleiben. So bleiben is not a verb of movement. Bleiben means to stay. But this is the exception. It is still formed with a form of sein. Okay, so fahren, ist gefahren, gehen, ist gegangen, kommen, ist gekommen. So those are all action verbs that signify movement. If we have another verb that is not signifying movement, for instance, like reden, to speak, yeah, we use a form of haben. Der Professor hat viel geredet. So this is the first part. And the conjugated Hilfsverb goes to the second position, and the Partizip 2 goes to the end. So now, how do you form the Partizip 2? You need to distinguish between regelmäßige Verben, regular verbs, yeah, that have the GE in front of the verb stem, and then a T at the end. Sometimes you need to add the E, and that is only if otherwise you couldn't pronounce it. So let's see. Machen becomes gemacht. Arbeiten becomes gearbeitet. You couldn't say gearbeitet, that would be two T's together. That would not work. So we add the E just to make it pronounceable. If you have verbs of ihren that end with ihren, you only add the T. Yeah? Studiert, telefoniert, no GE in the end. Unregelmäßige Verben, irregular verbs, they have the GE and they have the EN. So fahren, gefahren, bleiben, geblieben. So note in red here how the vowels change. Finden, gefunden, gehen, gegangen. So there are more irregular verbs in the grammar section on page 160. So what you need to do when you learn verbs is to, if you learn the irregular verbs, you need to learn the Partizip 2, just so you memorize it. So that's how you'll learn the vocabulary. It would be bleiben, geblieben, okay, fahren, gefahren. And so if they are not irregular, you know that you just need to add the GE and the T, sometimes the ET, and verbs that end in ihren, just add a T to the stem. So the next grammar lesson in this chapter is very minor. It talks about connecting sentences with und, which means and, oder, which means or, as well as aber, which means but. So what we're learning here is that, we have two main sentences, and the conjugated verb in the first one is on position 2, and also in the second one, it's on position 2. Only sometimes you could leave out the subject in the second part if it's the same as in the first sentence. So it would read something like, ich ziehe den Frosch an und ich hole die Flyer. Or, ich ziehe den Frosch an und hole die Flyer. So if you need to keep in mind that the ich here, even if you leave it out, this is still where it would go. And so the conjugated verb remains on the second position. If the subjects are different, you obviously need to have them all in there. Ich spreche mit den Leuten, aber es ist oft sehr laut. Okay, please let me know if you have any questions about this, and I'm happy to help.